Hello and welcome everyone, I'm Madals and today I have got a best of one game. It is from the ladder and it is between a Terran and a Protoss. So let's introduce these two players spawning up in the top right position. We have got the red Terran player, it's SeleCT. And his opponent spawning in the top left, the blue Protoss. It is GEODUDE. Which is a cool name. I like GEODUDE as a name. I think that's pretty swish. But yes, being Protoss versus Terran, well, for a start this map is relatively big, but they're in the vertical spawn position, so that means that they can actually get quite close to each other and really put on a little bit of pressure, especially with things like Reapers can come over and really get in quite nicely because there's quite a bit of cliff area that you can utilize, and also the path, if you go by cliff, is really rather quick, so that's something which we may see SeleCT try and utilize. Keep an eye out for the gas, that's always a good tell. Meanwhile, for GEODUDE, well, taking a third in these spawn positions isn't actually too difficult because you can split the map right down the center. Neither of these bases will get taken because that would be just pretty bonkers, and bonkers is something I like to watch, but players don't tend to do because they want to make sure they win and not just get out a little bit of crazy. Unless, of course, you and me on ladder earlier, where I just had enough of playing boring games, so I went slightly crazy and went for some really funky builds. And that's always a good thing to do, but I suggest you do it on unranked, not ranked like I did, because when you lose a couple of games, when you go back to playing properly, you suddenly realise your MMR has dropped a lot, and you suddenly go up against people who do strange things as well. But yeah, anyway, for the moment, SeleCT, he's just coming over, he's getting a nice little scout out early, gonna see the double gas because there's no wall off. The gateway is on its way, 2 probes should go in each gas geyser, the mothership core comes out, energy starts banking up, and that is all fine and dandy because that's what you want to be doing early on. As we see from SeleCT though, he's got the refinery, he's got the barracks finished up, so Reaper should be coming out right about now, or now. Any second now, a Reaper will come out. Come on, make a Reaper. Oh, he's not got enough gas. Okay, once he's got enough gas, a Reaper should be coming out. His timings are fractionally off there, but that's fine. So there we go, Reaper on its way out. We've got the Cybercorp getting scattered out here, so everything going fine. Gas count seen. Oh, bunker coming down because the Zealot was skipped, and this is the point where you're just like, oh dear. Oh dear, a bunker is literally right next to my gas geyser. The probes are going to get pulled, the Stalker should get started up momentarily, but if this bunker finishes, it's going to be really frustrating. Where is the SUV? It's taking a couple of zaps from the tasers of the probes. What even is a probe's attack called? It's a particle beam. That's one of those things that I never knew. I don't know why I didn't know that. It's just, well, particle beams, so not little tasery things. Very painful nonetheless. It will force a cancel on that bunker, the Reaper on its way across. The Stalker, though, is going to be out on the field before it hits, and what is this little probe doing? Hello, Mr. Probe, are you going to be up to something sneaky and exciting? You very well may be. The Reaper is on his way in, though. Going to just see that, okay, Stalker there, probably not a good move to go and get myself trapped. I'm just going to hightail it back out. At the same time, though, SeleCT, he's just expanding. He's getting up his command center, he's getting up the bunker, plus a reactor on that barrack, so everything piecing together just as he would like. The Nexus coming down here for GEODUDE. So early aggression was denied very effectively by GEODUDE, who is now just going to be following this up, very tech and expansion heavy, because if you know your opponent's committed to getting out Reapers early, that means they got a gas early on, and that gas early on means that their expansion is delayed, so you can afford to expand after that and get some tech, because pressure is unlikely to be coming, and that is always a good thing to be doing. This probe is still just sitting, waiting to put down a proxy pylon. It is his only goal in this game, is to get a proxy pylon down, and I'm sure that he's going to achieve it at some point in the future, because it's very unlikely that SeleCT will come and spot him down there. But this Reaper coming back in towards the main base is going to be able to make his way forward and could potentially get a probe or two. We'll scout out the Twilight Council. That's a really good scout for this point in the game. Will he see that the Templar Archives came down exceptionally early? No, he's not going to be able to, and that means that SeleCT now, he knows that that's there, but he may think it's ETs, may think it's for Blink, but getting a Templar Archives this early, not so common. So this straight away turning out to be pretty funky. We do have +1 coming down here for SeleCT. It was quite an early +1 actually. That's something which I should have made a bit more of a deal about. It came down pretty soon, but here comes the Hero Reaper, getting all of the scouting information, sees that the Templar Archives is on its way. And now, this just means SeleCT is completely aware of what his opponent's doing and can prepare appropriately. And the way he's going to prepare for it at the moment is, well, I'm just going to go and take my orbital command down to my natural base. I'm going to just keep checking up and keep going about things as I would want. What he's got to be aware of, though, is that Storm will be down significantly earlier than normal, because it was like, well, this is sort of similar to, say, a 1-gate robo play, except obviously you're getting up to Templar Archives tech rather than Colossus tech. So that leaves a little window of opportunity that SeleCT can go and try and punish, knowing there's only the single gateway down. In terms of defensive units, there's 2 Stalkers and a Mothership Core. These Marines are actually going to be a right pain, especially once +1 finishes down, and then it's going to be really awkward to defend this. Photon Overcharge is going to have to be utilised here. The Reaper is still being a bit of a pain. There goes down the Photon Overcharge. The Marines do manage to get out of there. A Stalker at the back sees that something is searching from the Templar Archives, so now Reaper getting all the information that he would need. The Forge is about to finish up now, so the +1 ground armor should get started. That's the most beneficial thing in this situation, because obviously you want to make sure that the Templars don't do anything, but actually opting for +1 weapons. So that's quite interesting, and the reason why I would have expected to see +1 armor here is because when you're going for this kind of very heavy high Templar composition, you're going to be going for Zealot Archon, in which case you want to make sure that your Zealots can tank up as much damage as possible, and instead opting for the +1, which is a bit more unusual, but we'll wait to see how that works. 1 cannon being built at the back here just to make sure drops aren't too much of a pain, because of course there's a lot of area that you can come and drop into as a Terran player, especially in these spawn positions. And now, a Dark Shrine queued up. This is a very, very interesting play from GEODUDE. SeleCT needs to identify that this is coming down so he can get detection. Currently, no missile turret at the entrance to his natural base, which means that he is slightly vulnerable to it. A couple of Widow Mines on their way out, plus a medevac. That spells Widow Mine drop to me, and that is not something that you really want to going down. But with a Photon Cannon here, that means detection is granted. There isn't one at the natural base yet, but that's a bit more out of the way for SeleCT to get down to. So for the time being at least, things not looking too bad for SeleCT. As long as he deals with this next push that's going to be coming in. We've got 6 gateways, plus of course the Dark Shrine and the Templar Archive. Storm is finished. It's going to be awkward if DTs warp in. Even though there is a wall off here, it will require at least a scan. I'd like to see a missile turret on its way. Another bunker being placed behind this. Clearly now, SeleCT not feeling quite as comfortable as he was previously. He is getting those 2 Widow Mines loaded up into the medevac, ready to go and put on a little bit of pressure. What is he going to be able to achieve though? Well, if he does get a drop down in the main, it's going to get cleaned up by that Photon Cannon. So he's going to have to try and get it at the natural, but now a Photon Cannon coming down there as well just means that it's unlikely to really achieve much. Pylon coming down in the right center of the map, so this is all looking good. 4 Widow Mines on their way. And as we can see, hardly anything lost so far this game. I think it was, literally just 1 unit, which was a Marine, if I'm not mistaken. So, oh no, it must be something else. If it wasn't a Marine, what was it then? That is what's making me go, something was lost. That much I do know. Anyway, charge is now getting researched from this Twilight Council, and in comes the Widow Mines, but the Photon Cannon there is going to force it back. SeleCT knows he's not going to be able to get in there and do really very much at all. Photon Overcharge is being triggered here by GEODUDE, so clearly very cautious about drops coming in, does not want anything like that happening. Widow Mines just getting placed down around all the different exits from GEODUDE's natural base. We'll discover this third. Good little bit of scouting there. +1 upgrades are done for the Terran. Meanwhile, just +1 weapons is done. +1 armor is on its way down. A couple of probes getting taken down there, but there is a Photon Cannon now on its way too. In terms of really what GEODUDE has done, it's not very much. He's just let SeleCT sit back here and go about whatever he really chooses, and that is not always what you want, because worker count wise, SeleCT is already 3 ahead after killing off 1 worker. So he's got a good spot there. He's also got the 3 orbital commands nearly completed. That means 3 mules are going to be coming down shortly. Economically, SeleCT, he's going to be quite happy. He's also getting the double infantry upgrades, 2-2 upgrades on their way. Now, at the same time, though, we see GEODUDE trying to get himself into a good defensive position, knowing that SeleCT is going to be moving forward. He's also got a whole ton of pylons down, and that means the counterattacking could be very effective. 1 lone DT sitting all by his own down to the 3rd, ready to pick it up when it comes down. But SeleCT, he is going to go and try and take out this 3rd base once it gets in there. All of GEODUDE's army is up at the natural base trying to defend. Is SeleCT just going to come in and snipe this off? He very well could, but the pylon, I believe, actually there, just granting vision. Oh, some Widow Mines up on the high ground being really frustrating. Do manage to do a little bit of damage. Nice placement there by SeleCT, and now in comes the push, taking down the pylons, preventing reinforcements coming in. A lot of Marines and Marauders, and really the Storms are the only thing forcing SeleCT back at the moment. Those Storms could be pretty devastating. DTs have also made their way into the main base. This as well is incredibly frustrating. The SCVs just getting us around on that DT. Another scan is going to have to be used in the main base. At the natural base, there's another DT going wild. This is going to take at least 3 scans to deal with. That missile turret is not going to complete. Oh, the SCVs didn't actually finish it off, but it's not going to have enough vision to be able to see right at the back here. So these DTs already have managed to kill 32 workers. At the same time, though, we see a push in here. Storm missing the mark. Good micro back from SeleCT there. GEODUDE, he's got to get some more Stormers off, but just such good control from the Terran player at the moment. It's going to allow him to start pushing forward, but there is another good Storm, a slightly better Storm there too, an Archon morphing in, and still the infantry is going to be pushing forward. The DTs are still down on the field, they are still being a little bit of a pain. SeleCT's now lost 35 workers, up to his opponents only losing 6. That is a massive loss, and we can see SeleCT at 19 to 57. Economically speaking, he is not in the strongest position, and that is potentially the, well, that probably is the understatement of the century. He does have mules, I'll give him that much. He does have, no he doesn't, what, the third, where's the third orbital command? Okay, 1, okay, it did get pulled back. For a second I was like, it floated down, has it seriously been taken out? Because that would be absolutely terrible for SeleCT, who's arguably not in the greatest spot at the moment anyway. 20 to 57 probes. Mules don't even make up that much of a difference, but with a third orbital command, at least SeleCT has got a chance of trying to fight his way back up into this. He needs to make sure that he keeps putting on the pressure though, and that is why he's moving back across the map. Still no tech switch occurring yet. The robotics bay has not been thrown down. There is a robotics facility, but currently just being used to pump out immortals as opposed to any other tech. There is still, well, nope, actually there isn't a Widow Mine around here. Just the infantry out. There is one Widow Mine. Where is that sitting? Just between. Okay, it is still there. Sitting between. That means that any reinforcements coming in could get sniped off. The Zealots looking to try and charge forward. 2-2 up against 1-1. Nice Storm getting a lot of the medevacs there. A feedback on that damage medevac would be absolutely great though. And there we go. That is exactly what GEODUDE is going to do. But still SeleCT's got a lot of army. The Storm is being used to buy some more time, trying to prevent SeleCT from pushing forward. More Archons morphing in. More Warpins coming down just everywhere around. The Mobius reactor is coming into upgrades, so that means the first DTs will, the first Ghost should be hitting the field shortly, ready to deal with those High Templar. But they've got to get down fairly soon, because this army from GEODUDE is looking fairly scary. SeleCT, he's got to make sure that actually he's got something to fall back on, because his third is still not down. This proxy pylon in the center of the map has been discovered. At the same time, drop queued up to go into the main, but two photon cannons there just means that it's going to have to get into a nice spot. Could just try and focus down a couple of production facilities, because all of GEODUDE's army is out of position here. There's the pickup. Photon overcharge went down. There was also the High Templar there. Got to be a little bit careful. Another proxy pylon has been discovered. Only one more remains on the map. This third, though, is about to start getting pressured. Quite a few Archons, quite a few Zealots, plus this Immortal is going to really help against Marauders. SeleCT, he's down in supply, and he's got to hold this off now. If he doesn't hold this third, he is going to be in a massive amount of problems. So as we see now, SeleCT, he is getting himself into a defense posture, already pre-splitting his army to make sure those Storms aren't too effective. A drop still queued up. A lot of Zealots getting warped in at the top of the map. GEODUDE, he's just waiting patiently at the moment, knows that the threat of this drop is still going to be coming, and in comes these units. But the DT is going to get spotted. A scan instantly goes down there, and this is looking really nice at the moment for SeleCT. He is going to be able to come in. Will lose the medevac if he's not careful, and that is not really what he wants. Some more Warpins are on their way. A couple of probes getting taken out, but still nothing on the 47. The GEODUDE has killed off his SCVs. The working count still heavily in GEODUDE's favour, but for how long? Because, of course, SeleCT is going to try and make a defence here. The Ghost is going to just run straight past where the DTs are. The missile target gets sniped down, and that means detection is lacking. The main is going to be the target of the rest of this, and as SeleCT pulls back all of his army, that is going to be opening the floodgates for GEODUDE to push in towards the third. The Zealot's already doing some nice amounts of damage. The DT is also doing quite a good amount here too, but GEODUDE choosing not to push in for the moment, just wanting to make sure that actually he can definitely engage well. Already racking up quite a few more worker kills, and this is really not what you'd want to see here. The DT does get taken out, but there's two DTs down at the natural base. They're focusing the orbital command at the moment. One more just going to run away up into the high ground, but of course there is that supply depot there, which means it can get spotted and can get cleared out. GEODUDE, though, he is still ahead just in supply. The work count 46 to 57, so actually the mules probably do make up for that. And this just means that the lead that GEODUDE had early on is starting to dissipate. SeleCT fighting his way back into this. Extended Thermal Lance is now down though. The first Colossus is on the field, the second one just popping as I speak. And as this all pieces together, this is where GEODUDE actually can really force SeleCT to try and get the correct army composition, which is always going to be really difficult for him when he took so much economic damage in the earlier parts of this game, because he just doesn't have the resources to pump out everything you want. The final proxy pylon now discovered and now annihilated by the Terran player. Widow Mine getting forced back. Nice little placement of that photon cannon, but still, Colossi, they're getting ready. Oh, the Colossi are on their own, need to be careful. There's the scan. Select knows there's not too much there. We'll see the reinforcements coming forward. The medevac's very far forward. Need to make sure they don't get out of position, but at the same time, Hellback Drop is getting ready to go, but deciding against it at the last moment. There's some good storms. A really tight choke point here. Select is not really going to be too comfortable trying to push into here, especially with those Colossi. Another good storm goes off. There's a lot of damage. GEODUDE looking really strong for the time being. He's just plowing through this infantry. Upgrades are equal at 2-2, so that is why this trade is going so nicely, as well as the choke plus the good storms. That splash damage absolutely critical to allowing GEODUDE to do nicely there. A drop trying to come in to the main, but with these two cannons down, it could be very tough to do so. More proxy pylons are getting placed. GEODUDE just making sure that he keeps pumping out stuff as quickly as he can, ready to go and try and catch SeleCT off guard while he doesn't have too much on the field. The army supply 58 to 92. The Colossi all still up, and there's not really any Vikings. The first four only just popping onto the field as I speak. The bunker getting taken down. The SCVs desperately trying to repair as quickly as possible, but they're just not going to be able to do so in time. So many Archons and many SCV getting taken down here, and this is GEODUDE pushing in for the kill. He's taking out the third at the same time. A drop in the main base from SeleCT. He's going to try and do a bit of damage here, but DT is getting warped in just in the nick of time to clear that out. The orbital command also got taken down here for SeleCT. That means he has just got 2 mules. He's going to have to float his main down to that third if he's got any chance of staying into this, but already having lost 70 workers this game, things not looking too good. A couple of DTs are there, a couple of Zealots are there. There is not enough energy. Oh, sorry, there is enough energy for a feedback, but the medevac only has 5 health anyway, so it could get taken down very easily. At the same time, GEODUDE, he's securing up his 4th. This is SeleCT battling to try and stay in this. He's got to keep dropping because economically speaking, his income is just tiny compared to that of his opponent, specifically the gas income. And the downside of floating his third down is he misses out on these 2 gas geysers for the remainder of their resources. As things stand though, this is looking very, very good for GEODUDE as long as he keeps dealing with this drop. Once he takes out this drop, things are going to actually be aced for him. If only he had 1 Stalker to snipe it off, that would be great. SeleCT is heading down towards where the 4th is. Is he about to discover it? He should be able to, but there is a pylon there. We just need a single Stalker and this medevac could get taken out. It would be so good. GEODUDE though, he is moving across. He just wants to defend against this drop for as long as possible. The DT cleaning out as much as he can. Worker count wise, 39 to 49. So neither player is particularly high up in terms of the income, but GEODUDE is very far ahead in terms of the supply. If we take a look at the army supply, it's 83 to 127. GEODUDE is definitely getting himself into a very secure spot this game. He's chucking down a couple more missile turrets. The final Marauder in that drop has been cleaned out, and that means now GEODUDE can focus all of his attention on this push out. But SeleCT, he is pulling SCVs. The SCV train is on its way across the map, and there is going to be no return. Actually, no, he's just going to go and float this down. He's not even going to go and all in here. He's going to lose this third base because he pulled all of his army out. I thought he was just going to go and try and all in, knowing that he was so far behind economically, but instead he's going to try and go for it. There's the storm. Can actually GEODUDE push through here? Well, the Vikings already doing some nice damage. The Stalker count is pretty low. SeleCT getting a really good trade for himself at the moment, knocking out all of these Colossi bar 1, and that final one is probably about to die too, and without that splash damage, this could be a bit more tough. The storms are going to have to be incredible. A couple of nice feedback coming down. There is a good storm though for GEODUDE. He is so far ahead. He's going to have to really throw this game if he wants to, but SeleCT knows after those storms hit so nicely that it just would not be possible. And there goes down the GG. GEODUDE, wow, he played very nicely there. SeleCT, he tried to put up a good fight, but it was just too much for him. So, if you enjoyed that cast, make sure that you like the video, leave a cool comment, and of course subscribe. I get new games up daily, so I'll catch you all tomorrow. I'm Madals, thanks for watching, and bye for now.